It was mutual. The feeling was mutual. So hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Webster. I'm actually just up the street in Kansas City. I'm assuming most, if not all of you, are in Texas. So yeah, just up the street just a little bit. So I am, like Peyton said, founder and Chief Solace Officer of Sharing Solace. But more importantly than that, I am Madeline's mother. My Maddie was born May 19th, 2010. She lived for 8 hours, and then she passed away the next day in my arms. She had a genetic condition that, come to find out, I'm a carrier for and gave to her. And so she is our one and only child. There's a whole lot more into that if you want to hear the story, but I won't bore you with it tonight. So.
Oh, there's nothing boring about your story whatsoever.
Well, okay, well. Yeah, so I did a few little PowerPoint slides or Google Doc slides or whatever. I thought we could kind of go through those a little bit. I promised them, well, I tried to not make them boring. And then I have a little exercise I kind of want to do together. And then if you want to, I'll read you a story. If not, we don't have to. And then if you have questions or you want to just kind of talk and, I would love to hear if this is relevant for you and how you made it relevant, and also just get some ideas and some ideas flowing. So I'm going to share my screen, maybe, hopefully. Ooh, I think it worked.
Yay, there we go.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, this is just my little starter slide, writing through healing, finding peace in the page. And one thing I realized after I found this perfect picture is if you look at the journal, it looks like she's written one word on the page, and it looks like grateful to me. Looks like upside down grateful, which I think is perfect. And it's a pink journal because pink is wonderful. So let me see if I can, there we go. Okay, so Sharing Solace, I kind of told you all about Sharing Solace. We help grievers grieve and lovers love those who are grieving with tangible gifts and a meaningful community to back up those gifts. Gathering Hope and Sharing Solace do a very similar thing. We just do it in different ways. And I think especially as we're going through grief of any kind, but especially the loss of a child or anything around that, there's never enough love and support. So this is me, a better picture of me when I actually did my hair and makeup. But the cutie on the right side, that's my Madeline. And as you can tell, she is the most beautiful child in the whole entire world. I'm a little bit biased. But I love her to pieces. And she is my only child, Madeline Elizabeth. So let's kind of get into it, shall we? So I don't know about you, but we know, journaling, we hear all the time. Journaling is something you should do. Journaling is something you need to do. But to me, it always seemed very self-indulgent and very decadent. Like, who has time to sit down and write a nice long story about all the things that went on in their life, when I originally thought journaling, I thought like 13-year-old me, Dear Diary, here are all the boys that I like with hearts and stars over the eyes, all that kind of stuff. But it's really not self-indulgent and decadent. It is self-care. And I that's something that I've had to learn that it's self-care, and it's a way to help you process. If nothing else, it's a way to process things. I think we all know that there are mental benefits to journaling, right? reduces stress, boosts your mood, increases resiliency. It helps with anxiety and depression and keep your mind sharp. But there's also physical health benefits that go along with journaling that I'm not sure everyone realizes. If you've ever heard of the saying, your cells eavesdrop on your thoughts. Well, if you're having negative thoughts, it ends up in your cells, garbage in, garbage out. So I find this is a good way for me, at least, to help with that. It really does improve immune function, and it helps your wounds heal faster and reduces asthma and rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. And I don't know about you, but I really need help with my liver and lung function right now because I have really not moved off the sofa in about 3 months, and and vodka. I haven't moved and vodka. So any liver and lung function improvements I can get, I'll take them because I'm not going to get up and walk. Let's be honest. So there really are, not just the more well-known mental health benefits, but there's physical health benefits too. And there's tons of them. All you have to do is Google it. Just Google it and you'll get all kinds of studies and reports and things about all the great things that journaling does for you. Okay, but here's the thing. You see a blank sheet of paper and I do one of these. Like I'm instantly overwhelmed and maximized and just like go crazy. I think, okay, there's a whole sheet of paper there. What am I going to put on it? What is so important that I need to actually take pen to paper and write it down? And what do you write about? Especially when you're just getting started, what do you write about? And I'm a very binary person. I'm a trained tax accountant. That's how black and white I am. And journaling is not. There are shades of gray in there. And it is not yes and no and on and off answers. There are thoughts and feelings and things. So I get very overwhelmed when I see just a blank sheet of paper, especially a blank sheet of paper in a really nice notebook. Because then I think, oh, I got to put really nice words on this paper in this really nice notebook. But here's the thing. There's good news. You can make journaling what you want and what you need it to be. Even one writing session of 15 to 30 minutes, just one time, has beneficial health and physical benefits to it. Now, yes, ideally 3 to 5 times a week, spend time journaling. But if you don't see benefits, then just stop. This doesn't need to be another obligation, another should do, another, oh no, I don't have time for. If it doesn't work, it doesn't have to. There's plenty of other things that you can do. But this is one thing that once I kind of found my stride really worked for me. So I see 3 types of journaling. There's the journaling type of journaling, the Dear Diary, hearts and stars and overly flowy letters, the more like free form kind of journaling, which is creative and it's overwhelming to me. And then there's bullet journaling. If you've ever even opened up Pinterest, I guarantee you've seen a page of a bullet journal. This is also very creative. It's more of like to-do lists and checklists and those kind of things in my mind. It keeps track of things, but it's very pretty and very artsy. And again, it's overwhelming to me because it's extra creative. And then what I like is something I call bullet point journaling. And this is very concise and to the point. It's not creative. It's not particularly overwhelming. It's not, free form, long form type stuff. It's very concise and to the point, like how I work, an accountant. So here's kind of my process behind bullet point journaling. First of all, why did I start bullet point journaling? And I'm sure that someone else somewhere has an official title for it or whatever. So to say that it's mine is like not fair, but I haven't found anybody else saying that they're doing it. So this is, I'll lay claim to it today. So first of all, I needed guidance because that blank sheet of paper was overwhelming. And I found that I needed the ability to stay present, especially very early on in my grief. I was, going back to thinking about all the things that I did wrong in the past or all the things that I was missing out on in the future, especially with the loss of a child. First birthdays, second birthdays, going to the park, all that kind of stuff. I was missing out on that. And also, okay, what could I have done differently? I think we all have those thoughts and those feelings in our mind. So I was beating myself up, thinking about all the things I did wrong in the past and all the things I wasn't going to get to do or should have done in the future. And so I really found that was just unnecessary suffering in a lot of ways, and that if I could find a way to stay mindful and present, I felt just a little bit better. And then I was constantly thinking everything I did was wrong, just straight up, I didn't make the bed. I forgot to brush my teeth. Everything I did was wrong. And I have now learned that if I wouldn't say it to my best friend, why do I think I get to say it to myself? Things like I would never, ever call my best friend a fat, stupid, lazy slob, right? But I, on more than one occasion, a day, would call myself that. So I needed the reminder that not everything I did was wrong. So how do you bullet point and journal? Well, really, you can do it however you want. But how I did it and how I found it most meaningful was once a day, every day. Yes, this works best when you do it every day. You write down 3 things that you're grateful for and 3 things that you did right in that 24-hour period. Ideally from the last time that the last time you did this. So I would do it every night before I went to bed. And I'll show you here in a little bit what my very first gratitude journal looks like. And I would just put the date and then dot, or, grateful for, and then 1, 2, 3. Did right, 1, 2, 3. And I found that one, I was staying present because I had to think about the things that I was doing in that 24-hour period. And I was realizing that not everything I did was wrong. And there were things in my life that were meaningful and I should be thankful for. Another thing that I think is really cool about this is that I really tried hard not to repeat myself as far as things I was grateful for or things I did right day after day. Because yes, every day I am grateful for my loving husband, except for the days that I'm not. Every day I am grateful for the roof over my head and the clothes on my back. And those to me are things that I don't want to say, I do take them. Yes, I take them for granted. But once I wrote them down once, I could fill a laundry list of things that I take for granted. So I was trying very hard to find things that I was grateful for and things that I did right that day that I hadn't necessarily realized that I was grateful for or did right in the past. And some of my things, like day 1, the very first bullet point of things I did right, start journaling. Hey, I did that right. There were days that I would write down, I brushed my teeth. I got out of bed. I, moved from the bed to the sofa. I showered and washed my hair. Those kind of things. These are not intended to be like crazy, there's magic in the mundane. These don't have to be monumental things or crazy, hey, now granted, if I won $1 million, I would be grateful for that. But you don't have to, it's not supposed to be those kind of things. It's supposed to be, hey, I'm grateful for the guy that held the door open for me when my hands were full as I was walking out of Target or whatever. And I found that as I was bullet point journaling, I almost turned it into a game. I gamified it, where I started carrying my journal around with me so I could write down things the second I was grateful for them or the second that I did them right, and see how quickly I could fill up my list and how quickly I could add a fourth thing or a fifth thing. But some days I only added 2. 3 is just like a made up number. If you want to strive for 5 things that you're grateful for every day, that's awesome. If you can only think of 2, again, don't guilt yourself into feeling bad about the fact that, you only came up with 2. It's the journey of doing this, not the end game. So yeah, I started turning it into a game, and I found, what, I feel like I should be drinking more water. So let me just put a little tally mark every time I have a glass of water. And then it was like, oh, well, yesterday I had 5 glasses of water. Let's see if I can have 6 today. And then, I would add, oh, maybe I should write down a tally mark every time I have a carrot instead of a potato chip, or things like that. It just kind of, it grew into something that was meaningful for me. And so I thought this was kind of fun. I put this little thing together. So the middle circle here is my 133 gratitude journal, which I have right here. I started there. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start tracking how much water I drink and aiming to have a healthy amount of water. And then, okay, well, I got that under wraps. I'm doing that more frequently. How about eating healthy? Because I could inhale a box of Oreos in 2 seconds flat. Now, I still probably could, but I try not to now. Before it was like, I'll do what I want. And then, okay, maybe let's track when I go to the gym or when I have movement. I don't really want to call going to the gym. Maybe that's going on a walk. Maybe that's, just taking the stairs. Maybe that is going to the gym or lifting weights or riding the bike. There's so many different ways of movement. And then I would write things on my things to be grateful for that sparked a more in-depth conversation in my mind, or something I wanted to develop further. And so it would turn into long form writing. So my pages of bullet journaling would be interspersed with a few pages of, like Dear Diary style journaling. And I really think that this little journal right here sparked and started the whole concept of sharing solace. This right here started that snowball rolling. And once I came, once Sharing Solace was founded, then that led to the other gratitude journal, which is just a prettier version of this. And then I actually wrote a book. Like, I went from 6 bullet points a day to 50,000 words. That's, for a tax accountant, that's a lot. So basically, I kind of put this together just to say, you might think that this is a baby step, but baby step after baby step after baby step after baby step lead to miles and miles and miles. And I truly believe that doing one thing can lead to another, can lead to another, can lead to a much bigger picture. So if you feel the desire to take a baby step, then take a baby step. It doesn't have to be one giant leap for mankind. It can just be a baby step. All right, so I would like to do a little exercise, but first I have my top 5 tips for journaling. And these can, take them if you want. These are just the ones that have worked for me. So my first tip is to get physical. It means get out a piece of paper and get a pen or a pencil and actually put pen to paper. Now, research says that there's really no right way to journal, but I do find that, at least for me, putting pen to paper pulls out the emotion a lot more than typing on my computer or speaking into my phone. Yeah, I type a lot faster than I write, but I feel like when I write with a pen, I write with passion and I have the emotion there. And that's really what we're doing this for. My second tip is to get cozy. So lay on the sofa, sit down in your favorite chair, get a blanket, take off your work clothes. If you're like me, don't put any pants back on, because pants are optional these days. Get a beverage, just get cozy so that you're only focusing on writing and not maybe what you should be doing or this other thing, or it's too hot or it's too cold or there's too much light. Just get cozy. 3 is get writing. Stream of conscious. Just whatever you're thinking, write it down. And if you don't know what you're thinking, just start writing something. I am notorious for not knowing how to start. And when I'm long form journaling, I'll just be like, I'm in a room that is tan. Very, very like first grader. The boy jumped. The girl, I'm in a tan room. I'm looking at all my Dr. Seuss figurines. They make me smile. Oh, and that, then you get to start going. So just stream of conscious, just start writing. 4 is get over yourself. So don't analyze things. Don't judge yourself. There's spelling and grammar do not count. Just write to write. Don't criticize yourself. And then number 5 is get deep. And what I mean by that is no one else is going to read this. So get truthful with yourself. If you're having a bad day, write that you're having a bad day. If you're having a good day, it's okay to have a good day too. Write what you're truly thinking and what you're truly feeling. And if you don't know, it'll come up. One thing that really brought me, I don't know the right word, but I realized that I never had to read this again. I could write it and tuck it away. I could write it and rip it up. I could write it and burn it. I'm not sharing this with anyone. I don't ever have to read it again. It's more the act of doing it than the outcome of having written something that is, to me, at least, where the healing came in. So don't feel no one is going to read this. You're not going to publish it. Just write what you're feeling. So those are my top 5 tips. So now what I'd like to do is spend 5 minutes, I have a little timer on the next page, to write down the 3 things that you're grateful for in the last 24 hours. And it's okay if they're super material. Maybe you got to leave the house today. That's awesome. Maybe you didn't have to leave the house today. That's even better. Write down the things that you're grateful for within the last 24 hours. So basically today and maybe last night type of thing. Again, dig deep, but they don't have to be, super monumental things. This is a muscle you have to strengthen. Finding gratitude, finding the gratitude in your life is like riding a bike. It hurts at first, and you really got to struggle sometimes at first to find things that you're grateful for. But I don't want to say it gets easier. You get better at it. How about that? And then at the end of the 5 minutes, I would love for everyone, if they choose to, you don't have to, but to share the things that you're grateful for, at least one or two. Because sometimes I need help remembering things that I'm grateful for. Like one of my favorite, well, I'll tell you one of the things that I'm grateful for that I haven't even written on my list yet is I got to go to QT, which is a gas station. I don't know if you have QTs where you are. It is my all-time, it's like Target, Disney World, Quick Trip. Those are my top 3 places in the world. I got to go to QT and I got a fountain soda and it was magical. So that was one of the things that I was grateful for today. So I'm going to write that on my list. So sometimes it's those kind of things I'm like, oh yeah, I do that sometimes and I'm grateful for that, but you don't always recognize that you're grateful for it in the moment. And so that's why I would love for people to kind of share what they're grateful for. So does everybody know what we're doing for the next 5 minutes? Now that I've rambled and rambled. I'm gonna take that as I see a thumbs up and a nod, so I'm gonna take that as a yes. Okay, so get your paper, get your pen, and let's go. I'll check back in 5 minutes.
Sounds good.